your parents had their honeymoon at that background? Like,
yes, they did.
The internet's so creepy.
Yeah.
The internet's
Great.
a
Yes, they
very,
did.
very strange place.
And so jealous, so jealous. It was still painted pink when they did.
Oh man, yeah, what a dream.
The
Would love to
sun
go.
painted it white, dramatic, awful.
Oof. Bad choice.
Yeah.
Way
terrible.
to go.
Are we doing it? Are we now live streaming?
Almost. I have to make one small change to change a URL in an
Sean, you're
access
amazing.
file.
Everyone watch Sean as he tries to change the small thing in the URL.
That's
You are
right, everyone.
amazing,
Live
Sean.
typing, the most exciting thing you can
It
do.
is the
on
most
internet.
exciting thing that you can do on the internet.
Kate,
Oh
how
my-
are you feeling today?
Feel fine. I'm a little stiff. Don't have headaches. Amazing.
Hey.
You know, who would have thought? So I spent all day yesterday in the hospital, and now I'm here.
Mostly just
So,
waiting, it seems, right?
Yeah.
Just kind
a
of
lot of waiting. A lot of waiting. The entire operation took an hour. Yeah, it was a lot of
An
waiting.
hour for no more headaches. That's
I
not
know.
No.
I know.
Would've been
I
so
had
creepy.
a dramatic pass out vomit session afterwards. That was
Oh.
cool.
Those
And
are
are we live? I really hope that
we
we're
are
live.
indeed. Welcome, welcome, one viewer who has joined us. This thing that you've tuned into is the Vomit Cast, the show where we talk about times that we vomited in the past 24 hours.
You know that exists on YouTube. I just want to let you all know.
boy,
There's
does it
probably
ever. I'm
multiple channels.
certain.
But Sean, what are we really doing here? Who are these
Well,
people? Why are we here?
What we're really doing, the reason for the season, some might say, is that we are here for being honest. Still not quite sure how to say that parentheses, which is a series of convos that we are having with the people who made Be Honest happen from the very start, from 2010 up until our present day. And we have a very exciting second session. If you didn't get to catch the first one, it is up on YouTube. Just go and search for our Portland State Graphic Design account and follow it. But we have a really exciting session for you right now, too.
Session number 2.
And I want to also take this opportunity, as you know, I'm Sean Schumacher. I want to introduce our co-hosts, Kate Bingaman-Burt.
Hello,
my partner in crime in
Yes.
so many of these
So many functions. Partner in crime in life.
We are live stream best buddies at this
We
point.
really are.
All day,
We really
every
are.
day.
we're a comedy duo for the ages.
That nobody
and I-
ever wanted. But here
By
we
the
No.
are.
way, I still have pictures of Gelman pulled up on my computer from the last
good.
session, so that's just what I'm looking at.
Well, see, now we've got an in joke, and that's what you really need for
I
a
love
show on the
Gotta
making
internet.
stick
a
around.
Regis and Catie Lee joke for the 2020 audiences of today.
And we are, of course, also joined by Cielle Charron. And I
Hi.
want to take this great opportunity, actually, just because I know I'm a little lighter in research this time than I used to be, for another great embarrassment corner. With some memories from the past. So get ready. Here we go.
It's Cielle, Be Honest number 2.
Be Honest number 2.
God.
Be Honest 2011. At the Cleaners.
2011
Shit, look at that
at the
terrible
Cleaners.
posture.
The one now, I was having some conversations with my partner earlier about how Be Honest 2011 worked, but because you were part of it, do you want to kind of talk about? Were you in the first part
it
or
was
the second part?
There were
2011 was
many
so
people
sweaty.
there, and like the Cleaners was so small that we had to do it in shifts. So it was like the first half of it was like one table set up, and then you would switch over halfway through, and the whole other group of people would come in and set up their tables. And it was so sweaty, and there were so many balloons.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Cleaners was, I think, probably about 800 square feet or something like that.
Oh, and this was number 2, and it was one of those things where it was like, oh my God, we really need a bigger space. And it was we had Jennifer Daniel was our guest speaker. There were so many people there. And then we had to break everything down so we could turn the entire room into basically a stage for Jennifer. And so it was really an
of the
intense
space.
experience. But all I do vividly remember was standing outside of the cleaners, sweating my ass off. I was so hot, and everyone else was so sweaty. So you can imagine how good the entire place smelled. It was
Well,
lovely. It was
I
like,
think
hey, Corbin.
Hello. We have a really killer guest list with us here today. I think I would love to go around the horn and introduce you all. So Catie, why don't you start us off? You are the first in my list.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit about, just introduce yourself, memories you have from Be Honest, where you're at now, whatever you want to share.
Okay. Oh, great. Big me. My name is Catie Cooper. I am a graduate from PSU GD from last June, so fresh out. I worked with Sloane, and she and I kind of ran last year's event. Now, yeah. Now, I worked for PSU Campus Rec while I was at school, and then through my first summer after graduation. And then I had a short stint at a cell phone company in Tigard, which was something. And now I work for Explain, and that's super cool.
Oh, I love it. And
love it.
And Tim is actually, he's reviewing some students today this afternoon, which is really great. And so are you, Catie. I love that.
Yeah. We were sharing some memories in the last session of the green room. But you and Sloane both worked on a pretty important project to kind of, like, we didn't have a lounge for a while after the Rad Lab got built. Do you want to kind of tell us about like the creative suite and how that sort of became a thing?
Yeah, so it actually came from a post on the Facebook Friends of Graphic Design group. Me and another friend were kind of commiserating that there wasn't really a great space for art students to do things on campus. And Kate responded and said, you guys should join A&D Projects. And so then I joined A&D Projects, and I joined that project to make a lounge for students because it was something that I was pretty passionate about, being a commuter student and taking the bus and not really having any place to just go and sit in between classes. And so, yeah, I joined that group, and I helped design that space and resource everything and made a fun mural, which was super fun. Spent all of spring break doing that pretty much, which was definitely a good way to spend spring break. Actually, I usually just kind of sat at home otherwise, so it felt productive at least. That was probably like my favorite project that I think I got to do during my whole time at PSU.
Well, and it's been so nice too, because that space gets used so heavily now. And again,
maybe not right now.
Well, not right now. No one is in that space.
Spooky right
Dear
now.
Lord. But,
mysterious facilities people going in and out, seemingly not doing anything.
We can't wait for people to use it again, basically.
Yes.
But speaking of spaces though, too, I mean, Corbin's here, and Corbin was someone, she was actually part of one of the, you helped remake spaces. I remember painting in the green room. And just like, we seem to always rope people into cleaning out trash rooms and turning them into spaces. And I'm also looking at Julie, because Julie was part of the first A&D projects, and she was very active in turning a trash room into an active space room. I actually have a really great photograph of you wearing a vacuum cleaner.
I was thinking about that photograph actually the other
day.
day.
Vacuum cleaner backpacks is just like, I'm into it. I didn't even realize we had one at our disposal. And I was like, okay, here you go, Julie.
Yes,
wear
it's
this.
amazing.
I love it.
Boy, I wish I had that photo at the ready, because I had that in a slideshow so recently.
My goodness.
I do have more photos of the green room though, for Corbin to look at.
I think cleaning out trash is design. So,
I mean, at its core, I think so.
The couch.
That
Wow.
great
I
couch.
know.
Stephen's office, which is now where the tiny
Yep.
tiny lounge space used to be, still has all these plugs hung at this incredibly weird
A
level.
great place for outlets.
Just
Why not?
the most visible, ideal place.
All those posters were from my undergrad friend, Denny Schmickel, who's a really great screen printer. And he sent me like all of those posters to decorate, and they still are floating around like 10, 11 years later, which I love.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I hadn't realized that if I clicked that link, it would take me to the junk room.
That's
There's the
well,
The
What are you
hover over-
talking
There's
about? That was a
Corbin.
beautiful studio.
there's No, that's not Corbin. Never mind. That's
No.
Amanda. There's
Yeah.
Beelan. I love it.
Painting. Yeah, some exciting clean. We're always doing renovation.
We're always
never
well, not right
renovating.
now. We live on the
Not right
internet,
now.
so that's
Digital
very good. Actually,
renovation.
since we're talking about Corbin, what are you up to? What are some of your favorite memories, and where are you at?
Oh man,
Yeah.
I am in Mexico. I live.
Oh my God.
I finally have a home again. I spent 3 years without a home. And yeah, I've settled in. I have a huge event hall. I wish we could have, be
Oh my
honest,
gosh.
here. I'm in an abandoned event hall that I rented from a
Wow.
sculptor who I met when I was making a newspaper here in the fall. And I really love it. It's super mellow and really beautiful. It's the most biodiverse climate in Mexico. So seeing all
Amazing.
kinds of bugs I've never seen before in my life and getting eaten by them too. But yeah, I mean, be honest, I'm like, I worked on at least one or two at the Ace
Yeah.
Hotel. And then maybe it was just one.
We had
and
one
then-
at the Ace because it was so
Okay.
sweaty. We're like, we got to get to
Yeah,
a bigger space.
That space, I've organized other things in that space. It's challenging, the cleaners.
Yes.
And then we moved to the old instrument
Yeah.
when it was still in the hangar.
They had their tea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I remember
2012.
when I was at Wyden, I think it was Kate was like, can you put me in touch with somebody about maybe we do Be Honest there? And I was like, yeah.
Yep.
And I think I put you in touch with my studio manager at the time.
Michael Frediani, and he's actually
Frediani.
reviewing students this afternoon too. So I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Yeah, I
I
actually
love
had
it.
I had him come in and talk to my portfolio students a couple days ago, and I
He's the
thank him
best.
I thank him every time I get the chance to, like, that he took a chance on us to move into Wyden and Kennedy for that time, because I know that was a big risk on his part too. Which one is this? Oh, this is the
So
instrument
this
one,
is
right?
2012. Yeah,
Yeah,
this was
okay.
our last instrument one.
Oh.
Our first instrument one, I'm realizing. Because the desks
It's really a
year we
blur
did
for me.
instrument
I
ones.
know
And
we made
me.
these. Yeah, I'm like, I know we made them. I know we had a great team. When,
think-
where, a little fuzzy.
I think
lot
that
of
was the year that
balloons.
we had Little Friends of Printmaking come and speak with us too.
I believe you're right. Because this was the year before, like, the hot dog cutout and stuff
Yep.
too.
Yeah. And they're reviewing this afternoon as well. So that it's been there's Ian, there's Will. It's this whole kind of us having to move things online was a little bit daunting and challenging when it was first kind of happening, but I definitely feel like it's been so fun to be able to bring in everyone that's not in Portland to participate in this event. And we definitely have, because we've been able to bring in so many different alumni and also just people around the country who want to be talking with PSU students too. So I'm pretty stoked at that silver lining for sure.
Yeah. Julie, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, sure. I'm Julie Lesseg. I was involved in 2014, Be Honest, and that's the year that I was a senior too, so that's when I graduated. And I actually was looking through my files to see if I could find anything that is from there, and I found like 17 different versions of that Be Honest website that I worked on. All with like Be Honest final, Be Honest 430 14 final, like all like horrible file, like
It's the kiss of death to
Structure.
call any
Yes.
file final.
yeah. And I'm just like, thank God I've learned, but I have it. If you could see it all.
Oh my God. Because Julie was always our go-to person for websites. Sorry, Julie. But that's
Yeah.
kind of what you do now too.
It
so.
is, yeah.
It worked
So
out.
It's a 2014 website for you,
Hey.
but I
love it.
It looks good.
It looks good. It's not responsive and great. Yeah.
I know.
I feel so bad. The historian in me is like, so in order to get this year's site up, which is actually at a different URL than we've used, I had to redirect the old URL. So all those files are still there. You just can't get to them at all. And there's a part of me that's just like, oh no, you've been able to get to these websites all these years until right this moment. But it really, I feel like that is one of my favorite websites that we like, the sliding and the fixed images. It was so good.
And Julie, when we're not in quarantine, you're actually my studio neighbor. You work at the beauty shop, which is just in the same courtyard as Outlet. So it's been fun to see you. And up until recently, Hallie Walker, who's joining us later for another Be Honest alumni get together, she was in this courtyard too until Studio Mega moved out. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of great to be able to see a few of you in real life pretty often.
Yeah, it's nice. It's such a lovely courtyard to be in.
I know.
Too.
I love it. I'm here right now.
Yeah,
no one else is, but I am. Okay, who else is up, Sean?
Well, next up we have Leah, who was going to join us for the previous session, but now you're here with us.
I am.
Here you are, Leah Maldonado.
I thought I could time travel or something with how I booked myself for the first hour. But here I am. I'm happy to be here. Love being online. That, if you just heard that noise, it's my Slack. Doing lots of that.
Just completely immersed in the online space.
Yes, I would say so. I am my screen now. Yeah. And yeah. Well, okay. I guess I should say who I am. And like what I'm doing.
I don't know. You live online,
Leah.
so
Yeah,
you're Leah.
Online. Hey. I graduated in the fall, not very long ago, just 7 months ago. I feel like there was like lava flowing behind me that I didn't even know about. It was coming to get me, and I just walked into the world and somehow got a job at Wieden and Kennedy, and then somehow then a pandemic happened, and it was just like so crazy, and that was the lava that was at my back, and I just had a lot of good luck. And before that, though, I did work hard. It's not just all good luck. I worked really hard to do a typeface. I just told myself that I would do this really extravagant idea. And, you know, it's not so different than the extravagant idea that I had for the Be Honest that I was part of.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, because you were a sophomore when you did the kind of like the art direction and branding for that Be Honest, correct?
I was, yeah, and so naive and crazy. But you know, just like I told myself for Glyph World, I was like, you'll make 9 fonts into one typeface and a sculpture garden in the mirror. You know, I said that, and then and then I had to. And then for Be Honest, I told Mariana, I have an idea. We will make Rube Goldberg machines and film them, and that will be the promo. and it like didn't turn out that way because those machines are like really hard to make and you can't just do it, and also cameras are difficult to operate and you can't just turn them on to film, and you know, yada yada yada. But I feel like
you were also trapped out in the portables.
I just remember the smell of spray paint fumes with you all and being very concerned.
Yeah.
So the first lenticular
promo.
The first and last, because you can't make those anymore.
The first and last, because we dove into Color Magics, which shout out to colormagic.biz here in Portland, who provides all of our postcards. But we dove into Color Magic and their resources and discovered that they offered lenticular printing, and I think it actually surprised them that this was something that they offered. And so we got the coolest lenticular printed postcards. And I think that might have been the first time that they printed lenticular in like, I don't know, since the late 80s, and they don't print them anymore. So I feel like that window was very small and we got in it and then we shut it all down. So
That was one of those things that I brought back with me from Pica, because we'd done a lenticular in like 2014, and it was like,
So
oh,
good.
well, we can. I happen to know a person.
I know. Never again. Never again. I'm glad we were able to do it though, but so sad we can't do it anymore.
Well,
yeah. You know, we're living, we're growing, we're finding new solutions to things. What if a postcard was entirely digital?
How can we turn a
nothing.
GIF into a postcard?
Yeah. What if you made the postcard that arrived to you? That's nothing. Anyway, Max, why don't you introduce yourself?
Max Miller.
Max.
I think can that just be my intro? Is it done now?
Yes. I just love changing your name.
I'm Max Miller, and I helped organize on for
several of them.
2015. No, not 2015. 2016, 2017. I can't remember.
But in 2015, we roped you into carrying lots of tables. That's when you were a sophomore.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you're correct.
I feel like that
I carried a lot of tables in
you
2015.
carried so many tables. You were a very sweaty sophomore.
I was.
And I feel like that didn't turn you off
as well.
I know that didn't turn you off to the whole experience, to be honest, because you dove right in there the next year and just helped organize and still carried tables.
Yeah,
that's a pro for this year's Be Honest, is that no one has to carry tables, and no one has to haul out leaky beer-filled bags of trash.
Those tables
or
those tables
hang
are
out
big.
in the whitened trash room that's like filled with beer that I can right now I can
it was
smell
so
it in my
gross.
nose
The
right now.
aroma just
Yes.
It's gross. It's foul in there. I don't know. It was a crazy thing to get involved in, but I think it was really fun. And I think for me, I always look back on Be Honest as training that I didn't know I was training and experience I didn't know I was getting at the time. Because once I graduated and got a job, I found myself doing some kind of environmental activation, like spatial sort of work. And that, the stuff I had done at Be Honest, which just seemed like a lot of fun with my friends for college at the time, translated not directly, but pretty, close.
Very close. I mean, you work at Camp Grizzly and you do a ton of on-site activations. Well, before the pandemic, you did.
Yeah. All that work dried up the day someone got sick there. Everyone was like, nope, done with that.
Yeah.
But
it'll come back. Your skills will be used again, Max, I swear.
Yeah. Well, and we're still plugging along pretty strongly as well. Just the event stuff is on hold. But yeah, there's a lot of the stuff from that where I was like, oh, okay, I had to do something similar a few years ago on a smaller scale with less money and typically lower stakes. But it was, I thought that's the one thing that has always really stuck with me, is that there was a lot of stuff I've learned those handful of years. And also carrying tables is an important
tables.
skill.
You still
you
carry
never want
tables.
to not know how to carry tables. Yeah.
You will always carry tables. Always.
Also, before we move on, Max, could you share? I see you have a little pup friend, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you have Steve with you?
Yeah. Here he's. Come here, bud. Come here. He really wants to play. Well, I'll get him. I promise. Let me grab you. Here we go. It's
little
Steve.
Tiny Steve.
Yes. Hi, Steve. He doesn't understand computers. He doesn't realize that there's people on the screen. But
Hi, Corbin. Oh, Steve. We love you, Steve.
Yeah, he is. He's mad at me because he would rather.
Go hide in your hood.
Yeah, well, he won't do that anymore. He got too damn big.
He's like 4 pounds now. He only did that when he was 2 pounds.
He's 4.5 pounds now, and he has decided that and actually for some time has decided that he's too big to be riding around in hoods. But
Dad, I'm a grown up now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, Sean, who's next?
Next up is Sloane.
Sloane.
Hi.
Hi, Sloane.
How's it going? I'm Sloane. I feel I hate talking in front of people. It's like 5 people.
You're not in front of people. You're
just in your room.
In my own
This is
room.
a magical
Yeah.
place. It doesn't even exist.
Yeah, we're on the webs. I'm Sloane, and I helped with last year's Be Honest. I also graduated last spring. And since then, I have basically been doing freelance and backpacking around the Europes, which has been fun and stressful because time zones are confusing when you're working with people in the States and you're in like Portugal or France or something, and it's like midnight your time and 9 a.m. their time. And
I feel like you and Corbin would be able to commiserate on this.
I literally, each client is in a different time zone right now, and none of them are my own, and I'm like, great, this is my fun, you know, like play the Rubik's Cube of the clock, and you're like, it's kind of a roulette. Like, I think I know when my meetings are.
There's nothing like sitting in a hostel like kitchen at like 12:43 a.m. and like having somebody like nag you, and you're like, I just want to go to my squeaky bunk bed with 12 other slutty people. Like, please. No, it's been cool. It's been really good. And yeah, Be Honest was really fun. It was kind of stressful being in portfolio and planning that, but Catie and obviously like you, Kate and Sean, like helped so much, and it was super fun. I ended up getting like the flu or something, I think like 2 days before.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you lost your voice.
And had like 100-degree fever like the whole time at Be Honest.
Yes,
and, like,
I'm remembering this very clearly now.
Yeah, I just like sat at my table with like beer and like water.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything either.
Yeah.
So weird. People just pitied me as I sat there. I think I drew like portraits for people because I was like so stressed out to like try to present my own work that I was like, I'm just gonna draw shit. Like I don't know. But yeah, no, it was super fun. Yeah, and it was just great learning experience. Like I put it in my portfolio when I graduated, and actually in a few job interviews, people have said like that was something that stood out to us because it shows that like you're willing to like really put in a lot of work and work with your community and stuff like that. So that's been nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I also wanted to.
Go. Sorry. Go.
No,
you go,
no,
Sean.
You go first.
I was gonna say too, Sloane. So you were actually traveling up until the pandemic hit, correct?
Yeah, I actually came home because of the pandemic.
That's what I thought.
I was supposed to be in Southeast. So I was living in Portugal for 2 months, and then I was supposed to be in Southeast Asia for like 4.5. And I got bronchitis in Portugal, or mystery illness. So, and I have a couple other things that a doctor basically like was like, you should just go home, because at that point it was only kind of in and around Asia, and they didn't know there was going to be a pandemic, but they were like, yeah, you probably just shouldn't like either hang out with in Europe or go home. And I was like, well, money, so I'm gonna go home. And yeah, I basically came home almost exactly 2 weeks before the like travel ban happened. So I got really lucky in that regard. But yeah, it was kind of a weird whirlwind. Wasn't expecting to be here right now, but my family is pretty stoked that it's an opportunity for them to like basically suffocate me in their house. But you know, we're thriving.
Your dad is very cool.
No, yeah, my dad's really cool. So it's been fun, you know, lots of baking, and clients somehow seem to think that because you're at home all day that that's just an excuse to call you whenever or set up, you know, meetings and stuff. And I'm like, it's 9:30. Like, no.
Boundaries,
Sloane.
Yeah, boundaries.
Sean, what were you going to do before I interrupted you? Like normal?
No, I was going to mention that you contributed actually an interview to our new internship zine that we're trying to do quarterly now. Our very first issue, which is up on psu.gd/internships. Go check it out. And along with the wildly long list of internships that Kate put together. I don't know how you did that. It's so comprehensive.
It needs more, and it needs organization. It's version 1 of our internship page. Version 1.
Internship DB. I think we're starting to run out of time, but I want to talk to Seth as well. Seth, do you want to introduce
last
yourself?
but not least, Seth.
It's me. I'm Seth. I currently live in Seattle, but as you can tell,
You're
literally moving back
moving.
to Portland tomorrow.
Wow. Oh my,
Very
tomorrow.
cool.
We get you
Literally
back.
tomorrow.
We get you back, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, bought a house, which is cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, but worked on Be Honest 2014 with Julie and Zach. Was that it? I feel like that was the dream team.
Yeah, it was
It
the
was
three
a
of
very
us.
good team.
The first year at Wyden,
Yeah.
which I don't know, maybe Julie or Kate, you can correct me, but I feel like it was fairly smooth, all things considered, maybe because we had so much more space.
No, it was.
Um,
It went pretty okay. But I also feel like that was a year that we started planning, like, especially for space wise, so early. And
Yeah.
that was great. And that, I think our speaker was Dan Casero, Young Jerks.
Yep.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
And it went pretty well. It was a good team. It was a good team for sure. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that hashtag. No, Chris Lopez was part of this too, because he
That's
busted
right.
his
Yeah,
ass
he
on
helped
all.
with
He was
the-
our
all the wood
hookup
stuff.
for all of the
All
wood
the laser
stuff.
cutting, yeah.
Yeah.
MC Laser Labs.
Shout out to
Yeah.
MC Laser Labs who donated all of that wayfinding, because I remember
Yeah.
Seth, like everyone was working pretty hard on the wayfinding because we had some pretty strict rules about what bathrooms you could use and what bathrooms you couldn't use and like how to get to all those places. But Chris Lopez busted his butt on a lot of
Killed it.
he set up all the files for all of that laser stuff. So, which is great. So good.
You
Also
were also
first
Pretty
year of the good market or
Yeah.
good shop or whatever we were calling it at that point.
Yeah,
that is
Seth,
now-
good
Seth, you were the
additions.
originator of the Good Market logo, which is very, very cool. And we still use a version of it, which is pretty cool.
How about that?
I know.
that little smiley face is gracing the new Seller Society
Seller
page, which is,
Society site.
uh,
Yeah.
Seller Society or psu.gd/Seller Society. We had it both ways, and I can never remember which one is the one that is correct. I also repeatedly called it the Sellers Society as though it
Me
was
too.
honoring Peter Sellers.
Which
Uh,
again is another reference that no
a
one is
living
going to get in
legend.
I don't know
2020,
who
That
that
Sean.
is.
1970.
We're working on this with you.
I'll get there eventually. But yeah, I think since we're getting near the end here, I wanted to kind of wrap things up and ask you all, like, if you had any advice for the folks who are going through this project. We don't have anyone from our 2020 team, but for that team and for our future teams, if you had any advice.
I mean, like, maybe I think sometimes I got like really caught up in everything being perfect that I like stressed myself out more than I needed to, and to just like really appreciate the time that you have to like work with those people on the team, because like when I look back on it, like it was so fun. There was so many like random days at like fucking weird stores buying who knows what, or making who knows what, or like making 20,000 buttons when you're like have 102-degree fever, that like it sounds like really janky, but like it was actually a really good time to like maybe appreciate kind of some of those moments a little bit more. Yeah.
Awesome.
And appreciate the simplicity. It will never be easier.
I don't know.
It might seem hard because that's the
yeah,
stakes feel
exactly,
high,
Corbin,
A
exactly.
little bit smarter. I do a lot of community events or community engagement on no budget still, you know,
There you
8 years
go.
later. And I learned so much from doing Be Honest. And I think for students now, if they love doing that kind of work and engaging with their community, the answer is don't stop. Just keep
Yeah.
I love it. And Corbin, I want to thank you. I just saw the massive Twitter feed, the Twitter post that you made today, and that was so lovely, so good. Thank you so much. And if any of
There's
you
some
are on
spelling
Twitter,
errors, but, you know.
no, but you should check it out. It was just a really lovely log of kind of like your path. And I think it's so important for everyone to kind of realize that everyone's paths are different in this, and what we all do looks so different. But I just really appreciate you putting that out into the world. It was really lovely. So thank you for doing that.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate it. It's been so nice to catch up with all of you. I also want to thank our viewers for tuning in. This is our second of 4 episodes that we're going to be putting up today. Our next sessions are going to be at 4 o'clock. Hey, I remember. And 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So tune in. Same URL you went to for this one, psu.gd/Ben Honest, BEEN Honest. If you go there early, you'll just land on the webpage, but tune in at the time that is on the paper, and you'll, the paper that you all got the paper,
digital
right?
paper that is
The
Newspaper
digital
that we
paper.
advertise this on? Yeah.
Yes.
The
Yes.
psychic
Yes.
paper.
Yes.
But yeah. So
Always buy more beer.
Oh yeah, we'll always
That's my bit of
when we
advice.
do this
Yeah.
again. I think the good advice is that we will never have enough beer for these events.
No,
So
never.
It can never be done. It never will be done.
I missed my
Always buy
shipment
more.
for today. Like I was supposed to
I
get
know.
some
We
beer
were
in the
working on that.
mail, or
Yeah, the deliveries are running a little behind right
I
now.
know,
It's-
I know.
I'm having
We're
trouble
working
getting
on it.
mail here anyway, but I hope to see something.
your case from our beer sponsor Rogue will be in the mail very,
Great.
very,
That's what
very
I thought.
shortly.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think I wanted to close this off with I'm looking at our YouTube on the comments. Aaron Seacrest is there. And to close us off, this wonderful memory. Remember when we got trapped in the trash room?
Yes,
Oh
I remember the trash room.
God.
I think that was Aaron and I. I think that was maybe the first day I met Aaron was when was Be Honest. And that was like the first time he had helped a bunch, but I remember spending an extended period of time with him in the trash room.
A memory that will bond you two together for a lifetime.
It's true.
Well,
No matter how
Thank
much
you
time
all.
you spend in there, it doesn't go away.
oh no, in so many ways.
Thank
Well,
you
thank
all
you
so
all
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
you.
everyone.
see ya at 4. Bye.
See ya, bye.
Bye.
Woo.